very first of all, very warm good morning to all of you. And to begin with, I must thank Sudhir Palji, editor ET Energy, for bestowing upon me this opportunity to address this venerable gathering, I would say. So you are all experts in the oil and gas sector. And as you know, oil and gas sector is one of the most dynamic sectors, I would say globally. Something is always happening at the global level, at the national level as well. So what I have done, I have tried to encapsulate all the areas of global importance, national importance. Since I am from the government, so I would prefer to give the perspective from within the government, but my usual disclaimer is that the views are personal. These do not reflect in any manner the views of the government at all. So the way I see this sector, so let me start with the global overview that how the things are expanding over time. And this is an era marked by sweeping changes in global energy policies and economic dynamics. The discussions, presentations, and contemplation that has happened yesterday and that is happening today, in my view, has or will have the far-reaching implications and some, I would say, the good churning points will emerge for the policymakers, and some good ideas would be generated which would help to push further our economy. Globally, as you know, is having a little, I wouldn't say hard time, but if we see for last 4 or 5 years, we are having some kind of disturbances in different parts of the world, which then have ripple effects across the world. First, we had COVID-19 pandemic, and that gave a big hit to I would say, the entire global economy. But even during that time, I'll share some anecdotes with you that how your contribution, particularly the OMCs of Government of India, the CPSEs of Government of India, how they have contributed in a great way, even during those tough times. And then, as we know, there have been certain global conflicts across the world, particularly Russia and Ukraine, that has impact on the supplies. And then we had that is still going on, and then we had in Middle East some disturbances. So all these, are having a great impact on the supply side. And the important part is that if we view all these developments positively, this has given a food for thought, I think, to businessmen, to policymakers, with a view, what I call the energy security. So I was thinking about this thing that there is a matrix of 3 factors, what I call 3x3 or 3 by 3 or 3 into 3. These are the most important areas today, I would say globally as well as nationally, as far as India and the countries like India are concerned. And those areas, number 1 is energy security. So we have been forced to think very constructively and imaginatively about the energy security. And the second is, that is energy transition. That is the third challenge. And second challenge. The third challenge is the uncertainty. The uncertainty in the global supply chain of oil and gas and related to that is the global value change system in this sector. So first, these three sectors are broadly, and then there are three more areas of, I would say, challenge, which we call availability, accessibility, and affordability. So first three, and these three, what I call the matrix of 3 by 3 or 3 into 3. So these are the, I would say, the 6 dimensions. The later 3 are the I would say, subsection of the first 3 one, but the later 3s are equally important for, I would say, for every country across the world, and it is more important for a country like India. When we talk about such a scenario globally, and one more point before I miss this point, that is, as far as India is concerned, why these points are important for us, that about 84 to 84% of our crude oil, we depend on imports. We are heavily import dependent. So one was the idea that we should not depend upon only one source of, supply in order to ensure our energy security and to avoid the uncertainty, as I said. So these developments which I refer to, these developments have forced us to think more innovatively, imaginatively, and to diversify our sources of supply. That's one part. And another thing is, when Russia-Ukraine conflict started, Europe started thinking absolutely in a different direction. And if you see, there are certain very specific laws passed by European Union to move away from, even gas and crude oil, more towards, I would say, what we call the value chain system and the critical metals, and they had a long-term agreements with countries like Argentina and others for ensuring the supply of critical metals. Similarly, USA government started a new project, and about, if I'm not wrong, about $40 billion they have committed, I think up to this year, for spending in the semiconductor industry. So they are also thinking innovatively and reducing their dependence on countries like, say, China, Vietnam, and others like that. So these developments have, forced many countries to think more innovatively. And one more point in the entire process is this, that so far, I would say till 2015 or 2016, the role of multilateral platforms like WTO, I would say, was huge, and still it's there. But slowly, what I see, that the role of multilateral organizations like WTO in, promoting trade and bringing everybody together to remove the trade barriers and promote the trade has slowed down to quite certain extent. And countries are adopting more inward-looking policies. So they are trying to, depend upon their internal sources of demand and supply. And because India is highly dependent on imports of crude oil and also on gas sector also, about I think 44–45% gas we import of our total demand. So all these demand areas have also forced us to think more innovatively. So consequently, government has taken actually a number of steps for the 6 sectors, which I say 3 by 3 areas. Number of steps. I won't be counting because there's an exhaustive list of, I think, long list to, but I would certainly point out a few, policies which have impacted the economy in a big way. One is the gas pipeline network, which ad was going on just before starting this. So this city gas network has spread in the far corners of the world, of the country. That's a huge, initiative, and huge investment has been done in this sector. Second is moving away from crude oil to gas. Our target is 15%, mix till 2030, and we have already achieved, I think, little more than midway. There's another than ethanol, even in diesel and others. And particularly, very recently, you would have seen that there is a lot of focus on exploration and extraction sector in order to increase the domestic production of the country. And you would have seen that certain amendments have also been made to bring more clarity and visibility and to give a kind of surety to the private sector in the exploration and extraction sector. And I must invite your attention to the latest, amendments in the Oil and Field and Development Act 1948, which has been recently passed by the government. So that's one of the very important, and some, the new fields are being open for your bids and all that. And a lot of development is taking place, and in future, in very near future, you would see a lot of more policy initiatives would be taken, are likely to be taken in this sector. That's one of the idea which I wanted to share with you. Another scheme which has made a huge dent, I would say, in the energy transition process, and that is the Ujjwala scheme. Ujjwala scheme, in last 7 years, about little more than 10 crore LPG connections have been given. And in that way, if you put it in a different way, that around little more than 10 crore families have transited from the fossil fuels to clean fuel in last 7 years. And when in the first month of this year, that is January, when the winter is at peak, I went on official tour to the area of Leh Ladakh, and the temperature was -26, -36 degree. And I went to that Indo-China border area. There is a special program started by the PMO, which is called Vibrant Village Program. So I must congratulate my CPSE companies that even till that border, what we call Chushul and Hanle and others, which are at the height of 18,000 feet and more, and your LPG connections and cylinders are there. So all those peoples are taking advantage of this. So I think this is a wonderful achievement. Nobody would have thought about this, I would say, some time ago. And this scheme just started in 2016. So this is one of the I would say, the great achievements. There are many achievements which I don't want to, list all but some of the focus focus areas and major ones which I wanted to share with you. When I was talking with Sudhir ji, and he said that you would like to share some insights about the future development also. Since I am associated with policy and I keep track of the records, means developments, what's happening in the different corners of the world. So I see, as far as the business opportunities are concerned, there are, I think, 4 sectors where in near future a lot of push is going to come, a lot of business opportunities are going to come. And number 1 is that long distance transportation, LNG driven vehicles. At the moment, this space, you may see that space is little slow towards this. But let me tell you, in very near future, this sector is going to boom. That is long distance LNG driven heavy vehicles. And with that, even the city network, the big cities like Chennai and other cities like Kolkata, so they're also in within city transportation system is also this is my personal view, this is my assessment, is going to go in a big way. That's sector number 1. The sector number 2 is green and clean hydrogen. Already a number of projects, I think all the CPSE companies and many private sectors also have started making investment in this area in a big way, and some of the state governments also. I won't name the state governments because they are still in the pipeline, so I don't want to call their name, but some of the state governments are going in a big way towards green hydrogen energy. That's the second sector. And the third sector is if I'll just check it out, I had written, yeah. Yes. That is EV industry, electric vehicle industry. This is also going to boom in a big way. Why this is? There are certain, policy decisions which are now and then announced in budget speeches of Honorable Finance Minister. If you look at the speech of 22-23, you will see that on the critical metals like nickel and lithium and all those, custom duty, I think basic custom duty has been reduced to quite a certain extent. So that's a big, indicator that which way policy is going to go. And this happened in, if I'm not wrong, 22-23 budget speech. Just look at the budget speech and you would see that. That's the third important sector where a lot of push is going to come. And the fourth, but not the least, which doesn't come, by the way, under the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, that is the semiconductor industry. European Union is investing a huge amount of money in the semiconductor industry. USA is investing huge amount of money on semiconductor industry, as I said, around 40 billion. Those were committed by the government, and approximately 100 or 120 billion dollars were committed by the business sector also. So that is called crowding in effect of investment. So when certain policy decisions are taken and supported by the government, then the business, it creates a kind of what we call centrifugal, I should say, that is inwards. the forces start coming and the crowding in, a lot of investment comes in that sector. So semiconductor is still a budding industry in India. And let me tell you, if you look at the policy document which was issued probably in 2021 by the Ministry of, I think, Electronics and what we call MeitY in short, you know. So if you look at that document, there is a big push. It has already started that actually some areas are such which don't come into picture very quickly. So first of all, you know, they take time to settle down and to get a kind of base, and then suddenly they boom up. And this is the fourth sector which I would say the semiconductor industry, where you know, big opportunities are there. Now let me connect this specific industry to, because without semiconductor chip, neither your EV vehicles can work, nor your mobile phones are, you know, means you take any electronic product, name any electronic product, you need some kind of, you know, semiconductor in that. So there is a huge scope, I would say, in the you know, a value chain system of this energy transition process. So there is a huge, this is, see, my understanding as an economist and as a part of policy making system. So these are the four areas which I wanted to highlight as a budding sector, and which I thought might, I'm sure you would have also noted, but I thought let me share my ideas on these topics with you. So having said this, I won't take very long time now, and in the end I must thank Sudhir Pal Singh ji, editor, Energy Times, again for having given me this opportunity to address this gathering of experts and from across the, I think, oil and gas sector. So I'm very thankful to you, and I wish my good luck to all the participants and all the speakers who are coming here after me to speak, and I wish all the success to this conference. Thank you very much.